through them quickly, and we have a good hour. Hello, everyone. That was it. I didn't even pay attention to the opening there. Welcome to another episode of Cullen on Film. Am I like yelling into this microphone?
No, you're good.
All right. So I seem so loud right now, but we're here with Robbie Bryan. What's going on? Local filmmaker, right?
Hey, man, yeah. So great to be here, be out in the studios and out in New Jersey, and thanks for having me.
So you're still located in New Jersey, correct?
Yeah, I was actually born in Queens, New York, but most of my life, 9 years old, I lived in Jersey. Grew up in Mattawan, went to Mattawan High School. And after I got married, we moved to Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Actually, we lived in Summit for a year, and then we've been in Scotch Plains for like 17 years.
And you said the ride wasn't too bad coming down here to Eatontown?
Shocking, but there will never be an easier ride in July going down the Garden State Parkway than there is right now. One benefit of what's going on.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's like mostly the locals are out. We haven't had too many bennies coming down.
It's just us. It's the Jersey
and then of course yesterday was a big
girls.
storm, so everyone's like, I'm not going this weekend, right?
That was crazy yesterday.
Yeah,
that was but yeah, no, it couldn't be any easier than it was now.
So,
love the studio, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's good to be back in the studio because sometimes we aren't. We're usually online, but a few episodes now, Ming and I were in here in the studio, and it's been a lot of fun to be back. So you kind of miss it. It was months. It was months going by that we were not here.
Doing all that Zoom stuff and doing all those. It's just not, everybody did a great job in terms of make do, but this is so much better.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun, and I got like people that kind of started this new show because we used to do Hang On to Your Shorts was our film festival show, and that kind of got put on pause. So I started this new one here, and I was like, let's interview filmmakers and artists and all alike, and I'm like, we can get people out of California now.
That's pretty awesome. And
so,
your shorts in Asbury Park, right? Your film festival. Right?
Yes. So that was what this whole thing started from, and everything like that. So. And unfortunately, we had to put that on hold because of all this.
Yep.
So hopefully film festivals will be coming back soon. We'll see. But anyway, why don't we get started with you? And so, a little bit about you right now, but how did you get started in making movies? Like, how did this come about?
So it goes back to, I went to Rider College my senior year, but I played baseball, and I also did plays from, little kid. And I was doing a play my senior year in college. I was an accounting major, actually, of all things. My parents were, there's no show business. You're going to be this or that or this, but you're not going to be that. And I never really thought that was going to be a serious thing.
Same issues, yeah.
And
I guess we all go through that.
Oh, yeah. Most parents, that's not the way, especially back then, there was not the way they wanted you to go.
Yeah.
But I was doing Godspell my senior year, and they brought in a pre-show audience, which was people from a senior citizens community. Yeah. And this woman came up to me after the show, and she said, I just want to thank you. My husband passed 6 months ago, and you've made me laugh for the first time in 6 months. And I was like, wow. I was like, you can actually do that with people. And I went home that weekend. I'm like, Mom, Dad, it's not going to be a good conversation, but I think I want to pursue acting, which is what I did first. And pots and pans flew and all that stuff. But I finished my degree. I actually switched to marketing, finished my degree. And then I said, Dad, this is for you. Now I got to go do what I got to do. Yeah. I went to New York. I acted for a long time. I started in the business. I was a stand-in actually for Michael J. Fox in about 5 of his movies.
Wow.
And got to learn about sets while I was, acting and stuff like that, and spent a lot of time by the producers and the director near the, watching them at Video Village. And then I had a friend who made his own movie. This going back when stuff was shot on film. It wasn't shot, you couldn't just get a camera and, do what a lot of us are doing now.
Digital yet, huh?
No. It's 16 if you wanted to go cheap, but 35 for the most part. Yeah. And, I heard about people, the Spike Lees and the Ed Burns and the Kevin Smiths all doing their thing. But I was like, they got to know somebody to be able to pull this off. And then my good friend, Danny Margada's buddy, Pat, made his own movie, and he was not connected. I was like, whoa, if he can do it, I can do it.
That was kind of the start of it all, huh? From everybody.
It really was that kind,
but not quite yet, because it was still, like you said, film.
It was still, it wasn't. you had to have some bucks to be, and they didn't have things like crowdfunds back then. So you had to, find that money to do it somewhere. But once he did it, I was like, let's do it. They said, write what you know. So the first movie I made was called The Stand-In, with about a guy who was aspiring to be an actor. And I acted in it, produced it, and wrote it. I didn't direct it. But Kelly Ripa was in it, and Judith Ivey, and David Allen Stiers from MASH, and Lou Myers from A Different World. And we just put like 27 credit cards, a bunch of cash, and 27. Because then, back then you could do that. Like now you can't get that much credit. Then that they came, we spent, and made the first one. And I saw what the director did with the vision, and everybody has their vision. But I was like, if I'm going to write it and I'm going to raise the money, I think I want to tell the story as well. I sort of said, maybe acting is my thing. Maybe I'll go behind the camera. And that's kind of what I did. And
can you see the film somewhere? Is it out there?
It's sporadic. Like it pops up. I mean, this is going back, 20 years probably, but you can still find it. Like somebody is selling it on eBay or pop up. You can locate it if you really wanted to go check it out. Back then it was on VHS. That'll give you a little context.
Absolutely. So how long was that?
That was we made that movie in 1998.
Okay, 98.
And it came out in 99. It had its distributor, and one of the many, sort of distributor stories about, we'll take the movie, we'll get the money, then we'll disappear somewhere. And so then we got the rights back. But it was a good introduction into the business, and we formed our company, Good to Be Seen Films, with my now wife, and we been making movies ever since.
How did you do the casting for that? How did you get all those people? That first film was kind of hard to get people like that, right?
It was tough. So way back in the day, I used to dance on this TV show, Dancing on Air, which was out of Philly, and it was sort of like an American Bandstand show. And I used to dance with Kelly's older cousin. And so when we came time to this movie, Kelly was not talk show Kelly. She was on All My Children. So I just kind of hit her up for that. David Ogden Stiers, I met on a set and he was the most amazing dude, brilliant. He's since passed, but he saw me talking to the crew on a set of Jungle to Jungle. And he was like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, I'm trying to put at that point, it was a pipe dream. And I was like, I'm trying to put this movie together. I was like, oh, I'd like to check it out. I'd like to check out the script. And of course, back then, you're always prepared, right? And I said,
here it is.
And literally that day, he's playing this Russian mob guy in Jungle to Jungle. And he's literally, it's his scenes, his close-ups. He's got my script. They're like rolling, he's reading my script, throws it down, action, does his thing, cut, goes back to the script. And by the end of the day, he literally, without script in hand, is like, on page 98, when so-and-so happened, I was like, whoa. And at the end of that, he just basically said, listen, if you ever pull this off, I remember his quote, it was like, what you're trying to do is pushing Jell-O up a mountain. Yep. If you ever get this made, contact my agent. Here's my fax number. Here's my agent's number. And it's a long story. What happened is a timely story between what you sometimes hear agents say and what is really true in terms of them passing on a film. Yeah. But ultimately we got back to David and he said, no, man, I said, I'm going to do this film, and came and did it.
Oh, wow.
So it's really cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And then from that film, what happened from there? What was the next step? So
the next, so I made that one, and then I had some other projects and stuff that I wrote. But the next thing I got to do, pal Eric Wilkinson was getting ready to do a movie called Man from Earth, which was this amazing sci-fi indie film that was made for very little money and ended up blowing up, and probably 5 million people on Netflix have watched this movie. Oh, yeah. It's listed on IMDb as one of the, I think it's 50 greatest indie sci-fi films of all time. And he came to me and he was like, hey, we're getting ready to make this movie. You made one. This is going to be my first as a producer. The director was Richard Shankman, who's done a bunch of really great stuff. He said, would you mind helping out and coming on board for that film. And so I helped on as a co-producer on that film. And then just continue to do films. The probably biggest one in terms of cast is I Murders, which was a 2008 movie that had really, like, for a movie that was made for, I could say it now, probably about $300,000. It was Frank Grillo is in it.
Look at him today. Yeah,
he's one of the leads, and look at him today. Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Lindo.
Yep. William Forsythe. Terry Colombino, who's a big soap opera actress at that point. Margaret Cullen. Just like Charles Durning. So it was really great, for that. Oh, Gary Anwar, how can I forget about that, from Burn Notice and Scent of a Woman.
Love Burn Notice. What a great show that was.
Yeah, she was the female lead on that one. Yeah. So
she started out on the show with the Irish accent, and then she dumped it.
Exactly. And so that was one of the cool things when I first got her to do that. I met her on a Michael J. Fox movie. So we got lucky. Burn Notice, there was a writer's strike when we were making it, and so they weren't working. And I just kind of said, "Hey, it's Robbie from For Love or Money," one of Michael J. Fox's movies. So I was like, you want to come in for 2 days and do this film? And she said yes, and that was the first thing she said. You want with accent or without? And I was like, you can just use your UK accent and do your thing. So it was cool.
I actually have that movie on DVD.
You said that to me, and I was like, my man.
I do have that. It's in my DVD collection. I haven't seen my DVDs in a while. Like they're all in a big box. I used to own a video store, so I have all these.
Oh, so you have? Oh,
yeah.
So where's your video store?
It was in Rumson, New Jersey.
Very cool.
Rumson Video, a long time ago. So I have a lot of collection of. I also have videotapes like all over the place.
Still at home.
Yeah. I don't. They're in boxes, but I still have videotapes. Not as many. Got rid of a lot, but
it's hard to get rid of those things. Those are your babies. Yeah, and you spend a lot of time putting all that together.
There's some I'm like, man, maybe some of these are worth money. I doubt it though. Some old VHSs.
You never know. Fans of that, which is what I was going to bring up. Another person from the movie who's a dear friend, Brooke Lewis, is a big horror actress.
Horrors. They still, you go to these things, they sell the VHS as a horror. Yeah.
There are, because I'm forgetting one of my other close friends who's in the movie, Tony Todd, who's a camp
Tony
man.
Todd. Yeah. We just, we were just talking about him the other day on the last podcast.
He's been in 3 of my movies.
Oh, wow.
And actually one of them you were talking about with Rob, that was the connection. I introduced Rob to Tony.
I met him down in Atlanta not too long ago in February, right before all this.
He's just the coolest dude.
Yeah.
Just the coolest dude. We talk like all the time. We talk sports a lot. We'll text each other, and he's a weird sports fan. He's a Lakers fan, a Patriot fan, a Yankee fan. I'm like, you just can't pick the champions, dude. But from all over the place. But he's amazing, and that movie's getting ready to come out. But the horror fans are just you talk about collecting your stuff. If you have any cool horror stuff, like those fans, God bless them, they're amazing.
I've been to a lot of those horror fest and everything kind of later in the game because I made a horror short, and I worked on a lot of horror films with somebody, so got into that horror world, and I go to these festivals, and they're a lot of fun. They really
Chiller and Monster Mania. Those are the big ones. I'll go see William Forsythe, who became a friend, Tony, whenever they're in something, and then you get to meet some other folks. But I just love the energy of those people.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun making horror films.
Yes.
Cheap too.
Yeah, you can make them cheap also because the fans are so forgiving. If you really have a cool story, and they're not, I don't know, they're kind of a special breed, and I got a lot of love for them.
Yeah, and then you never know if small budget and you can have a big hit on your hand. Saw
is a great example of that, and Paranormal Activity and all those kind of
Blair Witch back in the day.
Blair Witch, I'm curious if there'll be another one of those type of situations, just because they would come out of nowhere. You'd have big budget stuff, and then somebody would come up with this clever. But now there's such a glut of people able to make films that it's hard for one to have that sort of come out of nowhere and blow up.
It really is, except for like Blumhouse. They make them for $5 million.
Exactly.
And they kill it.
Well, Jason, he's they're really smart dudes over there.
Yeah,
and women.
They can pull that off. I don't think they've had because that's the cutoff, that 5 million mark. They don't really lose any money, do they?
They have it down to a science. I think the rest of the world, the sort of film industry, is sort of catching up to that. Like, we can make it for this and sell it for this because there aren't any DVDs anymore. There are, but you're not making, back in the day, if you can get into a Blockbuster or a Hollywood Video, you're going to make your money back just from that.
Yeah.
And now that's gone. So,
have to order on TV, I guess, right? I guess you don't get much of a kickback from that anyway.
No, that's definitely, when there's a great thing about Netflix and a bad thing about Netflix, and the people are paying it's cool that they have that audience, but paying $12.99 or whatever, and you can watch 50 movies and TV shows that month. The audience there, and they'll find, there's product and there's audience, so you're always going to find, that. So that was that. And then we did a movie called The Eyes in 2015. I was getting ready to shoot that movie at the end of 2014. We had a mostly cast, and then a quick moment of whatever, but I got stage 4 cancer and literally had to shut down, and I had to fight that, which was fighting my life kind of thing. But obviously it's 2020 and I'm still here. So this is a good end to the story.
How long did you have to do that?
So I got diagnosed in December of 2014, and I went into treatment in January of 2015 and did 7 weeks of intense. It was the type of cancer that it was like, I want to kill it quick but hard, or it's not going to work. And so it was intense for 7 weeks, chemo and radiation every day. And I kept in touch with the cast and the crew. I'm like, if I beat this, which I'm planning to do, we're picking up in August and we're going to make this. So I had to wait. I finished my treatment in March. I had to wait 3 months to do my PET scans. They were clean, thank God.
Yeah.
And but in August, we were in a sweaty place in Brooklyn, making The Eyes with Nick Turturro and Vinny Pastore from The Sopranos, and just Danny Flaherty was from The Americans, and then just a really great group of newer actors that just killed it. And that movie actually got a theatrical in 8 cities and was on Showtime for 2 years. So.
Oh wow, yeah. It's a good cast.
Yeah. It was just.
And it was made in New York.
Made in New York, 15 days.
Wow.
We shot it sequentially, which, as you know,
you don't usually do that
in a movie.
It's great when you get the chance to do that, I guess.
The actors loved it. The continuity people loved it, and we basically would shoot. It was like 100-page script. We'd shoot 7 pages a day. Page 1, other than the first 2 days were sort of flashback sequences. And then for 13 days was 7 pages a day. And we did page 1 to 7. Next day was and we could do that. And it helped because it all took place in this one room. So we could, get away with that.
That's great. If you had that location, it's easier to just go with it, almost like a play, right? Just keep filming it in order.
And leave
if you have that location.
If something got smashed on the table and just hot set, leave it there and pick it up and nothing's moved, So it was a blast.
Wow, that's great. And that was 2015, you said?
We shot that in 2015. It came out in 2017.
So it's not that long ago.
No, that wasn't long ago. And then I helped, Rob Margolis was a friend, and helped him with Immortal. And just been, also putting together, being part of other productions and putting together the next movies. I have this movie, Black Hat, that I've been trying to make for 9 years, which is sort of about a teen manga artist, and it deals with bullying. And I have a Facebook page with 1.5 million followers on it. So along the lines of the horror community,
under that film you have?
Yep, Black Hat Anime is the name of it.
We'll get it on there.
Yeah,
can go on and check it out.
It's. I mean, again, talking about the horror fans, anime fans are ridiculously committed to the genre.
Oh yeah.
So it's just about this girl who's trying to meet a favorite Japanese director and get to this convention for this contest with amateur manga artists. So we're gonna have 15 minutes of anime actually come alive throughout the movie when she's driving.
So you have to make anime?
Yeah, well, I'm not good.
Yeah,
I
you're not gonna do
definitely
it.
am not doing that. One of the great things about having that page is like, what's important to you, and they say, make sure it's a famous Japanese animator. So we'll make sure that we do that.
Oh, do you have to get the rights to the anime and stuff like that?
I actually created it's original. It's an
Original
original
stuff, yeah.
anime, so it's the main character's anime. So that part I don't, but there's a lot of references to other anime that we will have to get rights to.
I think Mig knows a lot of anime people. Do you?
Oh, do you?
I mean, I've seen the conventions
Yeah,
and stuff.
conventions
So
and stuff. That's what
yeah,
I'm
we'll
thinking, right?
well, voice actors. They're all voice actors.
Yeah,
Like creators, I don't so much. But
They're not usually around.
no, I think they're too busy animating, so
Yeah.
they don't let them out of those sweatshops. So.
But that's still it's cool. It's a really creative, amazing world. That's awesome that you're into that.
Yeah, so a lot of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so you're in development right now. So you have that online, and are you raising money for that? Or is that?
We're actually working on that one through attachment. That one's going to be more in the kind of budget that we were talking about with Blumhouse. So it's not, it's like, yes, I have 1.5 million followers, but translating followers to necessarily crowdfunding doesn't always go hand in hand.
That's
so
true, yeah.
there's more, but it's great to have those people where I can bounce off ideas, and like Ghost in the Shell made a huge mistake in casting Scarlett Johansson, as wonderful as she is an actress. It kind of offended the whole fan base because it's a Japanese character.
Yeah,
and they were not happy about it. So I could have told the studio ahead of time, based on what my audience was saying, that you guys are in some trouble.
Yeah.
And so it's great to have them. And obviously, when it comes time to make the movie, I have them to promote, share, and I have no delusions of grandeur who I am. So it's clearly the anime that's keeping them excited about the page, even though we haven't been able to. We've had several name actors attached through the years, but I got derailed through the cancer thing. I was supposed to go on Ellen right before that happened and promote it because of the bullying thing. So, it's meant to happen when it's meant to happen. I think the script has been developed.
Bullying's still going on all over the place.
That's
now it's
going
more
away.
online bullying now.
Exactly.
Well, I guess it was during that time too, but it's getting worse and worse, right?
Well, because nobody's going to school again,
Yeah.
So it's more on the phone, and it's more on,
that's another new thing we'll have to deal with if we don't go back, right?
That yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you said you have another project that you're
so this
working on.
One I'm really excited to talk about today. Yeah. During this period of time, I have friends Stephen Dexter and Sarah Wharton, and they're very much into whole gun violence thing, school shooting stuff in terms of fighting that. And about a year and a half ago, after one of the major shootings, I try not to talk about individual shootings because it's really about all of it, and not one specifically, and nor is the movie about one specific one. But after one, Stephen, who is the writer, producer, and star of this piece, was compelled to write this story about an elementary school shooting. And they did a crowdfund. They had a director attached, but I was just really impressed with the presentation and what they were trying to do. So we donated a good chunk of money toward it and wished them well and said, do you need anything? Happy to do it. It's called American Morning. And a year went by, and I sort of pinged him, and I was like, hey, what's happening with American Morning? And he said, well, would you? And first time he was like, hey, I'd love you to read the script. I'm sorry you can't direct it. And I was like, sure, send it on. And I read it. It was really good. And so this time he said, well, it's funny you're getting in contact. Can I read it again? And do you want to read this new draft? I was like, sure. And he sent it to me, and I read it. And the first 3 pages, I was just like blown away visually, and just how he started off the film. And I, turned to Christy, and I was like, damn, I wish I was directing this movie. But there was a director attached, so I sent him a thing and said everything I just said, except for, dang, I wish I was directing this movie. And he phoned me up, and he was just like, well, what do you think about directing it? And I was like, my short answer is yeah, but what happened to your director? And he said he just didn't respond to the new draft. And I was like, well, everyone is, of course, is entitled to their opinion, but
Yeah.
I think he's wrong. And he said, you want to do it? And I spoke to him first day, and I was like, well, I would love to do it, but you know, I don't want to necessarily talk about doing this for a long period of time. Like, if we're going to do it, let's just jump in. Christy and I will bring in our company to what you've already brought to the table. We'll put in some money as well, and we'll make the movie. And I got in touch with my buddy Richard Schiff, who I've been friends with a long time, who amazing actor. You know.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
It's a lot of indie films too.
Yeah, he does it.
He does. Yeah.
Well, he comes from a true actor's background. So whether it's theater, whether it's, he's like ready to go.
Is he like New York? I've seen him in a lot of New York independent films.
He lived in New York, but he now lives out west, and he's doing The Good Doctor in Vancouver. So that was the one sort of stipulation, was we gotta fly him in from, you know, his show.
No.
So he literally got, you know, excused. I don't want to say written off, but excused for one day. And we flew him in, and he's playing the main character's father. We also had a big politician who was going to put in a bunch of cash, and shockingly that didn't all work out. So we have to do this crowdfunder now, which is, I'm newer to. Our producer Sarah has done a lot of them, Sarah and Steve. So we are presently in the middle of a 30-day campaign on Seed and Spark. And we have raised, we're trying to raise 26.5. We've raised, to finish it, this is all post, we're getting no money out of this. It's a not-for-profit film. And we've raised 17,000 in 10 days. So we're killing it. But
how long is that Seed and Spark? How long do they go for?
It's a 30-day campaign. So we have, you know.
Do you have to hit the mark, or
we at 80%, we can keep whatever has been donated. So we're about at 67%, but we're in that sort of middle ground where things sort of slowed down. Like the first week, we killed it.
When it first comes out,
everybody jumps in. Plus, you know, you've told your family and your friends, and they jump in. Then it slows down, and then that last week is like, hey guys, the clock is ticking. We don't want to give money back. So
hopefully we can post that, right, Ming, and then and we can get people on that Seed and Spark.
Yeah, that would be amazing if you guys could do that. It's seedandspark.com. The project is American Morning, MORNING. And we have these 15 kids, some of them local from where I live in Westfield, that are just, you know, to have to, in 5 days, actually they worked one day, so we did 9.5 pages.
So you are filming it?
It's filmed. We had to do, we literally wrapped right before Corona, and now we're just needing the money for post. So they, you know, 9.5, being a teacher, 9.5 pages, 8 hours. We had to film 2 scenes where a school shooting was happening because of child labor laws. We couldn't go over. So it was intense. And also want to give a shout out to Samantha Simpson Hahn, who got us half the kids, along with casting director Carolyn Sinclair, who has this amazing, you guys who are listening who have kids, and if you're near the Scotch Plains area, her place TAP teaches kids everything about acting, singing, dancing. You should definitely check her out, because her place is just amazing. So, and she's been a big help, along with the parents who have been sort of championing, you know, this crowdfund coming through so their kids could. That was a big
part of it.
That was a big thing for their the agents too. It's like, oh, Richard Schiff's in the movie. You know, they were really excited about that, and it was an honor to work with him, even though he's a pal. It's the first time I'm working with him. So yeah.
It's always good to do that. But like, so you know, to have name attached is always a good thing, especially when you're raising money too.
When raising money, as you all know, in film festivals, you know, I love that you've been doing the festival for a few years, and you know, as a programmer, it's like, oh well, they got, you know, especially for a short, you know, to have somebody that will be part of the cast and be recognizable is a big help. You know,
it does help. yeah, for the money or backing, or even now to get into not ours, but the shorts. But like if you have a feature film, I guess it does help if you want to get
for raising money, always for distribution, always.
Yeah.
Again, the purpose of this film is to raise awareness, and if any of this film is to raise awareness, and if any of this film is to raise awareness, and if any of this film is to raise awareness, and if any of this film is to raise
We're getting
awareness,
some audio back. We're getting some audio back.
But yeah, that's a big start.
The script, and then it has a meaning to it where it's a big purpose for this. So
It's I mean, there's a film. My producer on the one of my producers on the if you're dealing with other distribution companies, a lot of times they want to take worldwide rights, but they work on percentages and stuff like that. Netflix is like, I'm giving you this money, you make the movie for this, you can pay yourself what you want to pay yourself, and it's our movie.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of thing, because
Yeah.
you can give yourself whatever salary you want. Obviously, you want to put as much on the screen as you can, but there's also a cachet of knowing that it's a Netflix movie, and so I might want to be part of that as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm real excited about that project and the integrity that it brings, and Kevin brings to the, and Lauren as well bring to the table for that one. And I've got this kid adventure movie that I've been trying to make. I'm so jealous and excited for Rob. I'm like, you're getting this kid's movie. You're getting your movie made.
We had the article come out the next day after, right after we talked.
He's been getting it everywhere. Like it's been in all, all the. I've been talking with them the last few days, and it's like, how'd you get in here? How'd you get in there? And it's just taking off like wildfire. But but mine's takes place in the 30s, and is a it's called the Mighty Misfit Kids, and it's about orphan trains. It sort of has like Anna Green Gables / Goonies vibe to it. So that's something that probably my favorite thing I've ever written. But again, that's like a $12 million budget movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, playing those pools. If I want
kind of waiting on that while these others go, or
you sort of build, because I have no delusions that somebody's going to come along and say, hey, Rob, I know you've been making movies in the, 6 / very early 7-figure mark. There's 12 million. Go nuts, So, so it's you're even after 20 years, you're constantly just trying to prove yourself and show that you're you make movies that people want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's that's real. And then I'm writing this script that has to do sort of like. It's kind of like a Sixth Sense, but also dealing with the cancer element that I went through as well. So, but it's also about my buddies. We've been going to baseball games for a baseball stadium for the last 20 plus years.
A different one?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll try doing the. Oh wow.
Yeah. There's like 25 of us. We guys get away weekend. We do it every year, and then do something crazy like jump out of a plane or something ridiculous. But and this year, obviously, we're like, oh no,
can't go to ballpark.
Yeah, I can't. I'm so I'm a fan. I have season tickets, so like I've been missing baseball big time. But.
Yeah, I usually try to go somewhere. I'm a Met fan too. We try to follow the Mets to some city. My cousin and I every year.
What's your favorite stadium so far?
I don't really know. I like San Diego. We're trying some new things here, guys.
I love it. San Diego
I liked it when
the most beautiful place.
Yeah,
it
really is.
Every day seemed like it was 79 and sunny. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold.
It was a nice stadium, but I do like Wrigley Field.
That's my number. So I've been to about 23, 24, other than obviously Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, and Philly. I've been to like.
I really like Citi Field now.
Food's great.
Food's great. That's it. That's the number one thing.
Food's great.
Food is great. That's the best.
Food is amazing.
Yeah.
But Wrigley is definitely my favorite old stadium, like classic stadium.
Yeah. So old, and it's still there. It's still gonna be there.
And they have those amazing bars right outside. Yeah. So it's phenomenal. Newer stadium. I don't know if you've been Pittsburgh Stadium.
I have.
I love their new stadium. It's really cool. I was there in the 80s when the Mets Game 6. Me and my buddies were visiting a friend in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. It was kind of scary back then. Yeah, it was like a police state, and in terms of like there were riots going on at the time, and now it's like this. It's really. I wish they had a better team because
I went a few years back.
Yeah,
it was nice.
I
haven't been to too many, but I've been to the ones you mentioned, and they're all great. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll write that movie, and there'll be a lot of comedy with the the trip aspect of it, and then this kind of Sixth Sense other thing that is gonna be a part of that as well, and with the cancer element. So. Yeah. I like those kind of movies.
Oh, they sound fun and real.
Yeah, exactly. And movies that can make you laugh and cry I think it's a good day's work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier before we went on about Skywalker Ranch. How did that come about?
So that was, saw some of your cool Star Wars stuff here.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff around
there.
here.
Yeah.
No lightsabers in here today, though, Ming, right?
Mike took him for something. I asked him to bring him back, and he hasn't brought him back.
And the
yet.
gun's not here.
He took the gun too.
The last podcast, we had the gun right here.
Are you serious? How amazing is that?
Han Solo's gun's just sitting right in front of me. I forgot about it. I'm watching it back. I'm like, the gun's right there.
I love that. That's so cool. I have to thank my buddy Dan Wolkin. He's produced a few movies with me. He's out in LA, but he's from New York. He's from Long Island, and he had this connection to this just one of the most special guys. His name's John Roche, and he does Foley for Skywalker. Now, they had a relationship when he was at Warner Brothers, and John's won 10 golden reels for Foley, which is basically the equivalent of Oscars. And he, everything from Braveheart to E.T. to, like, he's just done everything. And he had made a promise to Dan, like, the next movie that you make, you can come up to the ranch and do, we'll do Foley for you. And it was just so lucky. The Eyes was his next movie. And so he's like, hey, let's come up. And he just was just the most gracious. First of all, you walk into Skywalker Ranch and you want to pass out, so that's you stay at these amazing rooms with these brass keys. And it's like, I remember leaving, we were there for 2 days, and by the time, I'll get into the story, but by the time I left, I was like, you had to give back the key to, like you would at a hotel or whatever. But it was this beautiful brass key. And it was just like, my hand was shaking. I was like, don't make me give this back. Do I really got to leave? But, it was top-notch studios. George Lucas basically stays there, and there's this like elevator that goes to where he lives. And so you literally, I wanted to just kind of sit there and stare at the door. I was like, when is that door going to open? It never did. But while I was there, but John was just like, he introduced me around to when we would go to lunch, and it was people in departments that have all been as accomplished as John. And he just would introduce me. Yeah, it's my director, Robbie. He's, it's like if I was Steven Spielberg, and just made you feel like you had a place at the table, which was just like the most amazing thing. And then just so gracious with his time, and wanted to make sure I got everything that I got. And then they have this, of course, I should have warned something today if I knew the connection, but of course we're buying all these T-shirts and memorabilia. It's like being in the chocolate factory. I just
it's like it's our chocolate factory of today. Like guys being in Star Wars Ranch. You should come out and do a somersault.
I'm telling you, my hand shook when I had to give that key back. It's like, I can't leave this place. Come on. I had that feeling 2 times in my life. It was like on this Harry Potter set, I didn't want to leave that. And this one was even, I literally got kicked out of the Harry Potter, exhibit. All these tons of kids are hanging out, and then there's me, my age, and literally the security guy had to come get me and pull me out. That's how geeked up I get when I'm around that kind of creativity, and I see it, live like that. So it was embarrassing when he was like, "Sir, you gotta go home," and I was like, "But." I
was planning on going to Florida to Disney to go to the fly the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
But that's not happening now. That was this summer. We'll plan it next summer. But that was something I was planning on doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're starting to open those places up again. I'm curious to see how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But, I know, Disney and all of them are just like, we got to open up our,
Yeah, they were like really about to, because it was low, and now it's like blowing up down in Florida. So
it's a shame, because those, I think whether you're 8 or you're 80, like those types of places, if it's in your heart, it's you feel like you're 8 when you go.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's how it felt, even in Skywalker. There was the professional aspect because we were working, but there was also like, oh, wait a second, I remember where I was when I watched the first one, so it was really cool.
Absolutely. What do you think of the new stuff, the TV show and all that?
I haven't had I haven't had a chance to check it out
Disney
yet.
Plus, yeah.
Nope. Doing American Morning at home and all that it's been cool that we've been able to do what we are able to do, but
were you editing and writing all this time?
We were editing. Yep. We were editing. And because my editor, I don't edit. My editor, Cullen, was editing. We were doing it remotely.
Yeah.
So it's like literally you send a file and has to be rendered, has to be sent up. So you're working like 3 times as long to do, where normally if I was in the room with her, it would be like 2 frames more this way, 3 frames more that way.
Yeah.
But now I have to first see it and send it back to her, say no, 3, you know, so.
I had to do that for graduation. We had to film like a virtual graduation.
Oh, wow.
So every time there was a change, they'd come back with me with something. And I'd like, you do realize I got to change it, render it, and then upload it, and then send it to you. Just give me a list of everything. They kept sending me one at a time. I'm like, stop!
Oh no!
Give me a list, and then I'll do it all.
It didn't happen that way.
No, so I kept doing it. I'm like, and they're like, oh, can you send it right back? I'm like, no, it's gonna take about 3 hours for me to get it back to you. I can change it in a minute. It's gonna take 3 hours for you to see it.
That is exactly. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to do that.
People don't get it.
No, no, definitely not. But did it all go finally okay, or?
Yeah, it was crazy. So, you know, I just felt like I was bombarded with so much stuff. You know, I teach TV film, and it's all hands on. So it was all online. We did it. We got through it. And then, you know, the year was, all the other teachers kind of like relaxing, and everything was thrown on me now.
Oh no.
So the last 2 weeks, Ning was around. He saw me the last like 2 weeks of school. I was going nuts.
Really?
Nuts.
Wow.
And I was like, when it ended, I was like, oh. I'm still kind of in that like phase of, I'm not doing anything.
You think if you do like a split one for the next semester, that it'll ease that load a little bit, or make it more chaotic?
I don't even know what we're doing yet, but I got a plan on this happening again or doing something. So, but at least now I know, and then they know. Don't do this. We plan it this way. So it was the first time for everything.
I mean, everybody's trying to figure out.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I'm like, yeah, I can handle it. I can do it. And I try to put. They don't know what I'm going through. My brain and everything are going nuts, and I'm losing my mind.
They don't see that.
They don't see that.
No.
They're like, oh, here you go. It's okay. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, I can do it. And then here's another project. Here's another project. Yeah, no problem. It's a problem.
Yes, it is. Yes,
my computer was full. The Mac, I couldn't even. It was too full. I had to take everything off. Oh, I finished this project, pulled everything off, put it on an external.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, they need to fix something. I got to pull everything back from the external, put it on the computer, get it through. I did that over and over and over.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
My computer was going nuts.
It sort of. We're going through this thing right now where we thought picture was locked on our film. Mm-hmm. And, that's really an important aspect, because now we're getting to, ADR and sound design, sound mix, sound, and everything has to be time coded. So when you lock, you have to, it has to stay locked, because if you do any of that other work and you decide, we got to change something. Yeah. So there was this week, for various reasons, we found out we may have to unlock. And again, so it's the whole process of like just what you said regarding school, which is like one change isn't one change.
No, it's a lot of changes.
It changes the whole thing.
It takes a little while.
Yes, it does. Yes, and it takes a lot of cursing that nobody is seeing.
That's why editing takes forever.
It's people always say that, especially if you don't know the business, or they're asking, why are we raising this much money for post? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you need it. There's 9 more departments that we still have to deal with in post-production, that each of them have to get paid. Our composer still has to compose the movie. Yeah. All of that stuff. The ADR session is its own thing. Sound mix, sound design, VFX. We have to, they're completely different departments. So it's like you break that 26.5 down into to 9 different
like
components,
little bit,
and it's like not enough even. that's where again, I promise it is not going into it's not going in my pocket, or Stevens or Sarah's or Christie's for sure.
No, so it goes fast, all that money.
Yep.
It really does.
It does. And you want it to look, you want it to look good.
It's like the Walking Dead. What happened to them? Like a big Walking Dead fan, and the last episode they couldn't finish editing it. They still haven't finished editing it because of all this. I think they're working on it now, but it hasn't been released. The last episode, they did 15, and they said, "Oh, we'll air it when we get a chance to finish it." And people were complaining, like, "What? How do you not edit?" Like, well, we can't edit it right now, and you have to finish editing the film. Editing it.
There's a TV show. I think it was really interesting. I think it was The Blind Spot or one of them that they couldn't finish, like,
because it was supposed to be out in the summer, right? Yeah.
So they ended up animating
Oh, I heard
like
about that.
a couple of things. I think it was the Blind Spot.
Blacklist did.
Blacklist.
Blacklist
Thank you.
did that.
Thank you.
I didn't
Yes.
see that one, but I heard about
We
that.
watched both of those shows. That's why I confused which one it
That's
was.
crazy.
But
I didn't see that episode that they did
they
that.
literally, they
Animation.
animated like, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was in the middle of the same scene.
Really?
Yeah.
And it just turns to
It was
animation.
just like
I gotta watch
coverage,
it.
or or the second half of the scene that they didn't finish.
Wow.
That they animated. So it's been really kind of interesting to see just, walking all of that stuff, how to get around it. And in the case of a series like that, it's like, you can't just stop in the middle. People are, like you said, going nuts because they're not getting, like, wait,
They
you
don't
shot
understand.
it. You shot it.
Yeah, shot it. Why can't you get it out in a week or two? Because you do that all the time, every other week. And like, no.
No, we can't be in the
Yeah, they shot it all, but they got to edit it all and put all the special effects and everything.
American Morning we did over Valentine's Day weekend. And, money aside that we're raising, it's still, we wouldn't have been able to go in and get ADR. And yes, you can get somebody to do it remotely or whatever. ADR you can, but then I'm not directing. Same thing, right? I can't, then it's, okay, do it this way. Oh no, do a little softer. Oh, have a little more emotion. It's that stuff. But the actual stuff that the VFX is being done remotely, but you can't do everything remotely. And when you're a TV series, it's even more important that people be, congregated to make sure that it works out.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be back in April, and I think they're going to probably air at the end of July.
Wow.
So, because they just stopped for a while, and then I guess they finally were able to go in the studios and do it. They're like, we can't do this at home.
No.
Basically, they're telling people we can't do this at home.
No, everything's changing, and stuff that's supposed to be released theatrically, like Candyman. Going back to Tony Todd, he just, Candyman just got pushed. 3 months because they can't. The Netflixes of the world aren't going to pay. I don't know what the budget with that was, but let's just say $50 million for the Candyman rights. Yeah. So it's like they need theatrical to make up those.
All the summer, this whole entire summer's movies just pushed till next summer.
And those movies are typically made for like $100 million or more. So
right now, next summer is going to be crazy if this goes away. Every day there'll be a new huge release.
Absolutely. And even, film festivals, like I'm trying to figure out how that's all going to work when we're going to be able to go back to, because you can do it online, but it's like the experience of being at a film festival and seeing an audience.
Yeah. I'm kind of tired of the online already.
Yeah.
Already. Like it's like, all right, it was okay, cool. Now let's get back to the regular.
Yeah. It would be better to, we have some friends, we've become friends with the Oldenburg Film Festival in Germany, the people that run it, Torsten, and they are actually, and Germany's doing better than we are in terms of COVID
right now,
containment now. So they're scheduled, I think, in another month to have theirs, and I'm really interested to see how that experience goes.
So they're probably like about a month ahead of us. So if that starts opening up, then maybe a month or two, we will.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, like all the movies that weren't made to be submitted now. So are you going to have,
we didn't even open for the next year. I mean, we were waiting till September.
Right.
We were supposed to be in April, and then we made it to September. Now that might not even happen.
Right.
So we might have to go online. We don't know yet.
Right.
We're debating it because I don't think we'll be ready for September yet. Even maybe like partially, but then you have like 25 people in the audience.
Yeah. And that kind of takes away, that I think
maybe do it with 50%, but
possibly
still be pretty tight.
And then what do you do
with award shows and stuff?
Award shows, and there's a lot of like venue things where people will go after parties and things like that.
And meet, you can't do that, so it's really hard.
And that's the big part because I know that. And, there's a short, but if you're talking about a feature film and you're trying to get people to watch your film so you can sell it, people can say, oh yeah, we're going to watch it online or whatever, but it's so easy to be distracted. When you're at the festival, you're there to watch the film.
And just to meet people. I've met so many people at the festival and I've worked with so many people. So it's just meeting people. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. It's
like, oh, you did this. Oh, cool. That was a good one. And let's work together. Here's my card. Boom.
and hearing audiences,
Reactions.
at your festival, they may laugh at this, at
Mhm.
the next one, and it's always interesting the different audiences, what they like or what they ooh about or what they, and you lose out on that too.
Yeah.
That's why you make movies. I know the world has changed and everybody's watching stuff on their phones and their tablets, but for me, like, I got into making movies because I love to go to movies. I love to see it on a big screen.
I love watching people's reaction to your own movie in the big screen in the theater.
It's the best. I mean, it's just such especially when they laugh when you wanted to make them laugh, or they cry when you want to make them cry. You know, crickets are not usually fun, but but that's happened less than.
There was sometimes like I would have a film and you wouldn't hear any laughter, but then people were like, oh, no, I was like upset or nervous, and then like, no, it was really good, really good. Really. I'm like, why didn't anyone laugh?
Exactly.
It's just different audiences.
There are audiences that are just that. I've had situations where we showed it and I was like, this is not good.
They just don't react, but they might enjoy it.
And we won an audience award.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's funny,
really.
Right? But it is interesting to go see the differences in all that.
That's the beauty of film festivals. And I think it's amazing that you run one, because that's its own separate challenge. And I think that, you really have to be a film lover to want to do that. I don't think people are like, how I'm going to make some money? I'm going to start a film festival.
Yeah, I wish, right?
I don't really like movies, but this is a cash cow, so I'm going to do that.
You wish it was.
Yeah. And I hope it will.
You do it for the love of the movies.
Yep.
And then, but it's done a lot for me anyway. The last 7 years of hanging out to your Shorts Film Festival, and all these other things have come about because of it. So, it's been a great experience.
And we love Asbury Park. So when you open up, we are going to come down and hang and
well, we don't even know about the next year, following year, because we haven't opened up, and there's nobody making movies. So are the movies going to come in? Don't know. We might have to take another year off. Or
is it going to be something like the people who would have been submitting to this year, who had finished their movie, let's say last year?
Yeah, maybe somewhere. Maybe that will be enough.
Because there's a lot of people that, there are a lot of people that are okay with the online thing, but a lot of people can't.
No, a lot of people did like they'll say, "Oh, we're going online. Oh, I don't want to show it online, or I can't show it online."
Well, yeah, I can't because then especially features, the distribution aspect of it is like it lost its world, or it lost its premiere situation, or it's available and somebody downloaded it.
Yeah,
any of that stuff. So I have a friend who had gotten into a festival in Switzerland. It was going to be her premiere in Switzerland, but it was a short. But the reason she wanted to go to Switzerland is her next movie is a feature, and she was like, I can meet local producers and do that. And then she got accepted, and then it was like, but it's going to be online, and she's from Brazil, so her English is a little broken. So I said, let me write a letter for you and just say, you really want to be in this festival, but this is my other purpose for submitting
can't
here.
Show it online.
And also, if you show it online, then she's not meeting the Switzerland producers that she would have met that could have helped her with her feature. So there's so many different reasons why that, why being there versus being online is so critical. So we have to see where it ends up.
Absolutely. Well, we're almost out of time here. Almost at that point. So it goes fast. Doesn't it?
It was really fast.
Because we start a little bit early, so and a little. But before we go, we always want to have you promote anything or talk about anything that you want to promote, any of your websites, and we'll put it up there.
Absolutely.
So, if you want to go through it again, and the Seed and Spark and a few other things.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. So I'm going to do a shout out for Immortal, which I know Rob promoted last week, but it's coming out on all platforms in the next month or so, I believe. So it's a really great anthology film that I was, really happy to be a part of. And I want to, Tony Todd, again, my buddy, is brilliant in it, and Dylan Baker's in it, and a really great cast, Mario Van Peebles, but Tony's my guy, and I want to push that, and Rob's a good friend, so check that out. Go to Black Hat Anime on Facebook and see what we're doing there. It's going to be a really cool project. goodtobeseenfilms.com, like when somebody says good to see you, good to be seen films, not seen like a movie scene. That's that. But my big thing here today is American Morning. It's such an important subject. It's such an intense film. I know it's really tough times. A lot of people are out of work, and it was really tough to do this campaign, and I totally get it. But if you have $5 or $25, we have some really great rewards. Go to Seed and Spark and check out American Morning. It's with my pal Richard Schiff, and Stephen Dexter is the lead actor. My buddy Louis Martini from The Sopranos did me a little turn in the movie as well. And Sarah Wharton and was producer. Please go check it out. It's a haunting but really important subject matter. I hope there will never be another school shooting again, but I think that would be very, very optimistic. So let's do what we can on that. And yeah, that's basically it right now. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast hanging with you guys and just being in a interview that isn't online, or being in a studio again, being in a studio with a bunch of Star Wars stuff and great memorabilia. It's even cooler, some superhero Batman stuff, and shared universe stuff, and so thank you so much for allowing me to
I thought
come
it'd be
up.
cooler to be in the studio than online.
Yeah,
since we are local, so
100%.
it's a lot easier to bring people in here now that we can bring some people back. So
Jersey in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always good to be back in the studio. So it's really cool. But sometimes we have the show online. I mean, via. But I kind of like this better. It's a lot more fun, right, Ming, in the studio?
Oh, always, yeah.
Always.
Well, I like having you guys face to face. So,
Yeah.
I missed having people in here for 3 months.
I know, right?
15 weeks was crazy.
We're just sitting in front of computers,
No, that's painful.
This is a lot better.
Yes.
You can be relaxed. You got a nice room. Just talk. And
it's like all what happened in the past 4 months never happened, at least for 1 hour.
It feels like it for an hour.
Yes.
But anyway, thanks for coming on. It was great. And we'll have some more Cullen on Film episodes coming up soon. You can catch us on right now on Cullen on Film on Facebook or Shared Universe. We got SoundCloud as well as on YouTube as well. So I got to update a couple of episodes on YouTube, and SoundCloud's all out there too. So you can check them all out. It's all there. And thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be down the Jersey Shore.
Cool. Thank you, Ming.